Gulf of Mexico. So, cheers. 7 p.m. live from the Dirt Bike Test shop or garage. This is Tech Talk Taco Tuesday number 9. I'm here with Mark Kalpkoff, who was in Vegas attending a tech seminar.
The NAB show, content creation.
Yeah, so that sounds interesting, I guess, to say the least.
Trade shows are all the same. You know, you walk and then you're walking into fart bombs and, and then guys sleeping on the floor because they're tired. And
yeah, so we are going to talk about motorcycles and motorcycle-related products. We are going to answer the questions that you come up with. I can answer 9 out of 10 questions without referring to a reference manual, and I'm possibly a little cranky because it was so windy outside I didn't go riding, and that makes me cranky. So I had my tacos. Mitch and George were kind enough to bring us our tacos today. So we will start out here by kind of running through and see what we're doing on our questions in here. Let's see. Does octane equal horsepower? Not necessarily. Bad octane equals bad problems with your gas, but I don't know. I just run pump gas all the time. I'm a poor person. You can there's definitely gas that can give you more power,
like PMEX
or oxygenated gas. There's all good oxygen. There's all kinds of stuff. I don't know the answer to that question. So first question out of the gate, and today I'm stumped. I've never really been a big fan of running special gases and stuff, because a lot of times places where I was racing, it was the fuel, you couldn't get that all the time, or it was inconsistent, and I just prefer to set my bikes up to run on what's easily available to get, and so that's what I generally use. Let's see. Jameson shared my show. Thank you. Mark made me buy 2 Honda XR 650s. Jesse, I'm sorry about that. Johnny Campbell made me buy a lot of XR 650s. So we're in good company, I guess.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Because this is my followers know that this really annoys me. Is this name for them is called there's people that call them the Big Red Pigs, and I absolutely can't stand
which they are.
They are, but when you grow up on the West Coast and Johnny Campbell wins multiple championships on a 650. It's called the Dominator. And the BRP, the Big Pig, pigs don't win championships, right?
Well, so and everything's relative. I mean, I ride around in a KTM 1090, and compared to an XR 650, my KTM 1090 is a big pig. And then I have a BMW GS sitting right over there, and compared to my KTM 1090, that GS is a big pig. So it's all relative. But, it's just, people like to lob bombs at you all the time. We'll get into our favorite bike stuff a little bit later. Hey Brian, good to see you. Brian Horton was one of my helpers at our school. He's just joined in the group here. Good, we're getting a few people up. Everybody's off work, I guess. Missing some of them are Ramiro's Tacos. Again, thanks to Ramiro's for letting us kick off this little show at their bar. One of these days we'll go back and. We just got to work on the bandwidth and stuff there. This shop actually works out pretty good. I can usually monitor Gabe working on this KTM 200 that I'm trying to, I guess, pawn off on him. He's trying to work it off. He just put the top end back on today. We're shooting a video on it, and now he's trying to figure out where the radiator hoses go, right? He's just laughing. He's so pickled right now. Hey, we'll have you on one of these days. We'll talk, yeah. And he's shaking his head. Nuh-uh. Yep, he's not even on Facebook, so nobody would see him. Anyways, let's see. So Mark Kaplikoff is from Berm Cannon. That's his marketing agency, I guess you call it. He does a lot of work with LA Sleeve and a lot of other industry things. I've known Mark for a long time. He's helped me out when I've been doing projects that when I was different magazines and things with lots of different parts from companies that he was working for. Used to always be out at Glen Helen, running around there shooting videos and things. So we've been known each other for a while. He kind of reached out to me and he said, hey, check out these Baja Diaries. So he has a YouTube channel, and that is called
It's called Berm Cannon, but now I've kind of repackaged it. It's Berm Cannon Adventure.
Okay.
So
Everybody's big on adventure these days.
I know. I figure I'm not the tech guy, so I just twist the throttle. So I had to come up with something that I just like to go out and ride my bike.
Yeah.
You know.
So if you want to see some actually interesting, it's definitely a different way of doing Baja. So my Baja experience is really centered more around racing to begin with. I went down there. My very first time riding down there was, I guess, probably the first time was go to Tecate Enduro, but then I was able to go down and racing. So it was always racing and pre-running, and that was pretty meticulous and planned out and well thought out. It wasn't me just taking my bike, running into regular dudes, hanging out with regular dudes, hooking up with other guys that are doing the same stuff. It's kind of interesting stories.
Yeah, I mean, Baja is that kind of Wild West atmosphere to it, and there's a lot of guys who that do the racing thing. Unfortunately, me being a racer too, I never got to get the permission slip from the wife to go down there and do that race. But all my friends, Colton Udall, Robbie Bell, Samuels, now even Justin Jones is down there. Those guys, I just kind of watch. They're kind of like, I enjoy, them racing, me watching, and then I do all the adventure stuff and try all the taco places and, and the fishing and the surf spots.
That's,
so.
I haven't been down for quite a long time. My last few times down there, I had some bad experiences, and I decided that, I've got plenty of stuff to do up here. That's why I moved out to Nye County, which is the wild, wild west. You know what we can do here in Nye County?
Yeah.
I usually mess this up, but I can drive my exotic sports car down the street, shoot an automatic weapon out the window with a prostitute in my right-hand seat, and sniff coke. Oh yeah, smoke weed, but then I could also do a little coke, and the only one of those things would be illegal.
Good state of Nevada.
Yeah, no.
What? Tell me your bad experience in Baja or the last.
I got. Let's see. We got pulled over by military police. No, we went through a military checkpoint. Somebody planted bullets in the truck.
Really?
Yes, and
wow.
tried to get a bribe out of us. I was asleep when it happened. I'd been pre-running. It was late at night. That was super sketchy. I thought I was going to jail. And then on the way in through Tijuana and the way out through Tijuana, we got jacked, and I didn't have any money on me because I'd just flown back from Germany, and they stole, or they stole. They wanted the team jackets that we were wearing. They literally took the jacket off my wife's back, and I said, "You know what? This is." And there was a lot of threatening going on, and it wasn't very pretty. So
yeah.
Not a good thing. I don't even like to talk about it because I mean the majority of the people in Baja are great people. It's a great place to ride.
Yeah.
I've met, actually, in some of the events I've been at, I met some of the guys, the tourism guys and stuff, and they're like, "Jimmy, come back." And I'm like, I will when I run out of places up here. That's kind of my theory on it right now. And I know people have been going down there for years and never had problems, and there's somebody like me who has 2 or 3 bad runs, and then it's just, you're a little over it, but sometimes that's the kind of stuff you have to endure in order to get some of the freedoms that you have. And unfortunately, it's like I think you can go to just as bad places here in the United States. It's just I feel like I know the rules.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame. I wish I could kind of go back and do that. Let's see. Okay, we got some more questions coming here. The police did this, not just some random people. My wife said that. She was in the car. She was telling me to calm down because I wasn't very happy. I literally, anyways, no problem. Over it. Okay, I had a question from last week that I'm going to address. San Felipe Bob, I got a question from you. He asked me my 3 favorite tech tips. And I have like hundreds of them, and we'll go through one of them later on in this broadcast. But he specifically mentioned the brake back bleeding, which is something that I do when my brakes get hot, or we've been doing some drills with brakes, and you can basically, it's really simple on a dirt bike, is you can take and compress the caliper. So I usually hold the wheel and use my knee to push on the caliper, and it forces all the fluid out of the caliper and back up into the line, back into the reservoir, and then you can slowly, with big strokes, pump it back up. And then you do that a couple times, and you're essentially like flushing, if there's air in there, well, depending on where the bleed is, but most of the time it bleeds most of the air out. It gets all the air out of the line, and you have a much more consistent, better brake feel. So that's number one. Number two, a lot of times when I'm tightening, when I'm changing the wheel and I want to get the chain tight, I will throw a wrench or a rag in the rear sprocket, roll the wheel back, and that will push the axle and everything. Will tighten it up and pull it up into the chain blocks, and then I'll snug the axle down, roll the wheel back, release, get the thing out, and then tighten it back up, and that just keeps the tension on the chain blocks and stuff when you're tightening that thing up. And number three, my third tip, and could actually be the most important, is set your sag on your motorcycle, set your ride height, learn how to do that. There are 10,000 videos on YouTube on how to set your sag, and here's the thing, just learn how to take a consistent measurement. I've been taught by some of the best suspension techs in the world, and I've been told by some other idiots exactly how to do it one way or another. And here's the thing. It's not necessarily the number. The manufacturer will tell you how to do it, usually in the manual, and they'll give you a number or a range to set it in. That's just a number. And then from there, understand what the ride height and the attitude, how it adjusts the attitude of the motorcycle and what it does. And then that is a baseline in case something goes wrong. You don't actually need to know the number. You could say, hey, I just want more weight on the front wheel. I need to run more spring preload, or less weight on the front wheel. I want to take some out. And it changes the handling character of the bike, but the stock setup is a really good baseline. And then if you know a little bit about how much it's sagging versus, the sag with the rider on it versus free sag, which is just the weight of the bike, then you can determine whether you have the proper spring rate on your motorcycle, especially with PDS. And I have a question about that to get to later. But those are some of the things that you want to take into consideration. Learn how to back bleed your brakes, use a wrench or a rag to tighten your chain, tighten your axle up, and then understand setting your sag and how it affects and makes your motorcycle perform. So, Bob, those are my three favorite tech tips. So,
is Bob in San Felipe?
Bob is not in San Felipe. I don't think he's the mayor anymore. I think he's probably been replaced. So, okay, just on to the peeps. I was joking earlier when I said I was drinking sparkling water. Let's see. We have any other? Answer James Moses' question. What was it? Does anybody remember which one? What is the optimal tire silica percentage for content for WEC? This guy's just going to ask. I don't know. I'm not a tire technician. Ask me something that's practical. 2%. I'm getting that from the audience. They're claiming 2% is the it's 2 beers. Yeah, that's the proper silica thing. So I don't know if I can help you on those kind of questions. I'm sure they'll just get goofier as Bob starts chiming in with questions and things.
What was the question again?
Oh, what was the proper tire silica content for riding on wet rocks?
I think he's playing games.
Hey, well, here's what you need to do. You need to find a good tire guy, tire technician guy to come in here and talk with us and explain that kind of stuff. Because, I'd like to learn.
That's funny.
That way I could just rattle off next time at some dinner party with my wife, She's like, Jimmy, answer this guy's question about tire silica? Yeah, go for it. So, okay. Mark was also mentioning that he's getting beat up by KTM 690 and Husky 701 owners.
Well, it started from me posting. I had this thing. I'm like, I'm going to do a bike review, and
that's a big mistake.
I know, of course, and all my magazine guys, I should know by watching you guys get torn apart from letters, and so I decided to do a video review. I spent a weekend riding a friend of mine, Husqvarna. Right? Is that how you pronounce it?
Husqvarna?
So I got torn apart because in the video, I don't know, I grew up calling it Husqvarna, right? We all did. So this guy doesn't even know how to pronounce it. And it just for 2 years, so I'm like, I got to do it. I got to just take the beating. I got beat for 2 or 3 years on this video. You can go watch it. It's But basically,
It's on your YouTube channel.
it's on my YouTube channel, and I shut the comments off because I just kind of like after 2 years of it, I was just like, okay, that's enough.
No, you got to turn them back on this week.
You know what? I think I will.
Turn them back on,
I will.
and maybe I'll take a look at them and I'll try to answer some, because here's something that I actually share with them. I mean, when we were kind of joking about this today, it's like that is a bike, the KTM 690 Husky 701 is a bike I'm not very fond of, and we talked about it. I think it's a great street going single cylinder motorcycle.
Right. I agree.
I think it has one of the best, large displacement. 600, 700 cc, 650 cc, like an XR 650, which we'll talk about in a second. 650 cc has a great motor. I mean, it's got really good power. It's got that big one lunger feel, and it revs. It's zoomy and it goes good. I just think something went wrong in the translation when the chassis started getting built, and then they said, "Oh, we only have this much room for the shock, and we're going to put all the gas up high and in the back."
Right.
And if you're over, in Europe, and 90% of your riding is on road, and you just do a small amount of dirt, that's going to be a really good bike. I don't think it's that much better than a KLR 650, which I
send the comments here, everybody. Send the comments here.
That is a comfortable motorcycle.
Yeah.
And a third of the cost maybe, but I mean, I used to get in the same battles with the guys that were talking about the BMW F650. Because I used to be a BMW rider and racer, and I hated this BMW F650. I just didn't, because guess what? It had the gas tank up high here in the back, and it had this Rotax motor that wasn't nearly as good as the KTM motor, and it was ridiculously expensive, and it had ABS that didn't work very well, and so just beating it up. But you could just go get a KLR and you'd be happy. And I mean, if I really wanted to go adventure touring on a budget, at a leisurely pace, really taking the sights and stuff, I would have no problem doing it on a KLR, because it comes stock with a big giant gas tank.
True.
And it's got a mushy seat and mushy suspension,
and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. So 35 horsepower maybe.
Well, I'm kind of glad that I came here. I drove all this way for you to kind of comfort me, because now I can get back on YouTube and start doing bikes again and not care about the beat down.
Oh, you're gonna get it. Yeah. Well, so and here's where me and Mark will disagree. Mark's favorite bike in the whole world is.
Well, right now
you better be definitive about this. Don't start welling me.
I know. So I think in this class of bikes, the XR 650 is pretty much the best bike right now that you can buy.
Can you still buy them? No, you can't buy it. No, there's no XR 650
well,
anymore.
I mean, you can buy it. When I say it's Craigslist, the dealership Craigslist, you can get them. But as far as, and this is what I thought, because back just maybe 8 years ago, coming up with 10, the bikes were what, 8 years ago? How much were they? Like, say, for a KTM 690 or
the 690 has always kind of hovered around 8, 9, and the XR 650 I think was 75, wasn't it? 75, 8.
I think it was like 6.
It was 6. It wasn't. It definitely wasn't in the $10,000 range.
So I think it's a bike that still to this day. I even had a guy the other day make a comment like, for the money that you're paying for these, like the 690R or the 790R that's coming out.
Buy that bike.
They're
sold out.
The XR 650 is still, for the bang for buck. You can get one on Craigslist for 27 to 31, and it's a tank. It'll run forever, and so. For adventure riding, dual sporting, if you can get one that's
if you can get it
plated,
street legal, yeah. So here's the funny thing about that. So it's not a street legal bike. It's a great Baja bike. There's no doubt about it. I remember when they started, they quit racing the 650 and went to the 450X, and I rode one of the race 450Xs, and I had ridden the 650 race bike. I'm like, I just don't like it as much. It was different, but then the courses were changing and other stuff. But I own one. I still have one. It's parked right over there. I got a big giant tank on it, and that bike's made 7 or 8 journeys across the Altar Desert, which is all sand dunes from San Luis down to El Golfo. Huh. And I used to ride around here. It was Heather, my wife, would ride a lot of times when we would go adventure bike riding. I'd ride my KTM 950. She would ride the XR 650, and it was completely capable, would keep up, do all that stuff. But I do not think it's my favorite bike. I used to like XR 400s, and And I would tell everybody that's the best bike ever, because after 10 minutes, and this is a true statement, after 10 minutes when I'm riding a bike, I kind of don't care what I'm on anymore. I try to tailor my ride to the bike I'm on.
Yeah.
And you know, I kind of understand the capabilities, and I don't try to outdo the capability. Like, I don't go single track trail riding on my adventure bikes. And I don't take my KTM 200 on adventure bike rides.
Right.
You know, so so my current favorite bike is, here's where I'm going to move my mic out of the way, is my Husaberg 570. That's right there, my Husaberg 570. And actually, I'm going to move this way.
There it is. There
look
it is.
Look at that guy right there.
In its glory.
It's lingering. I have two of them. I got two of those things. The reason it's because it has a motor in it that it's like, so it's not same range too, but it's got like so much more horsepower. I mean, you should see the tire on that thing. The knobs are literally shredded.
But what does that cost compared to an XR400?
Oh, you can't buy them anymore. That's how exclusive they are. Yeah. Oh, compared to an XR400?
Yeah, because the Baja Diary started with a $1,300 XR400, and I do agree, the 400 is a really fun bike. The 650 is just that progression of that bike.
And the 400 was just indestructible. And, and I used to love it, that it just indestructible. I hate it because that was the time when like electric start was coming out, and it didn't have electric start.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't overheat. Which is always a good thing in the kind of riding we were doing. And then, you know, there's like I said, there's so many different good bikes. But in reality, if you just kind of pin me down and say, Jimmy, you can only have one bike, I basically pick KTM 500 all day long. Yeah, KTM 500 EXC comes with a license plate. You know, it costs $10,000, but I can turn it in, I can put a big tank on it, change the gearing, and it becomes an XR650. And that's why that XR650 is over there collecting dust.
Now, does that include reliability?
100%.
Really?
It to a level I'd almost say it's a step up, and that's going out.
How is that a step up? Like mileage wise, or
just I think it lasts just as long, and it's maybe not as as tank like, but I mean I've got tons of miles on both those bikes, and I would say that I've actually worked on the Honda a little bit more. Just having to do little things. The Honda tended to overheat a little bit more, but that was before cooling fans were really kind of in flavor. The Hondas could be a little bit tough on the clutches.
Yes,
and
definitely
it's a 5-speed transmission. So when we would gear it to do long rides and stuff like that, if we go do technical stuff, which we always ended up doing, you'd be hard on the clutch. And then if you geared it down, then you'd be kind of running it hard. You could run it hard the whole time. And I've sucked more sand through both of those motors, the XR650 and the KTM 500, than anybody should. And they keep running. You know, they don't just grenade like some other bikes that I've had experiences with. But
real quick, and then how about long miles? Say riding for a couple days, or even on pavement. I mean, so
the KTM, when you put the big tank on it, and if you put a softer seat or a bigger seat on it. And you change the gearing. That's the most important thing. If you change the gearing, maybe just up one on the counter shaft, it makes the bike feel like an XR650. It gets that kind of lumbery, heavy feeling, and it takes some of the vibration out of it, especially when the tank's full. I mean, when the tank gets empty, it gets very light and agile again. But so it's so
setup is important.
Yeah, it's like anything. Setup's really important. It'll never feel as heavy. It's always a little bit lighter and agile, and you can it'll go through the bumps just as good. And the KTM, you can take it and do more small technical, tighter stuff. So, and you can put stuff on the, they have about the same carrying capacity on the back when you're with soft bags and things like that. And so, I don't know, maybe you'll have to try one of these days.
Yeah, I'm a Honda guy though, know, and so, but I will. Maybe I will. Yeah. Maybe I'll get one of those.
So we'll roll back into the questions here. See if we got anything kind of popped up.
You're almost at 50 people watching.
That's horrible. We're filling the small little chat room up. It's the clubhouse. I'm gonna scroll back down. Let's see. Heather liked the XR650. My wife's been on here for more than 5 minutes. she hates it when we talk about motorcycles. No. Hal Raider plated KLX 450. Actually, I have some friends that used to have some of those things, and they liked them. Those are 650 or 450s. Okay, yeah. Spencer, nice to see you, Spencer. Spencer was my roommate back in when I bought my first house back in Costa Mesa, way back in the day. He was working at Team Green, and he used to bring he'd buy a bike, and he'd literally turn it into a factory bike. He had like there was always a factory KX 500 sitting in our garage, seemed like most of the time, and then some of the cool bikes. He had aluminum framed KX 250 two-stroke, and had a really nice KLX 650 actually. So kind of cool. Let's see, 570. No, Bob, the bike we rode in the torture test was actually a Husaberg 650, and that was the old smaller head conventional one, and that bike had a motor. That was probably one of the best 4-stroke single motors I've ever ridden, especially for a carbureted one. So, scroll up, AJ, missing Mammoth already, are you? I got to go. Actually, last week after this show, I literally hopped in my truck and drove up to Mammoth and went snowboarding with Jibber Jay for one day and skiing with Ron McCoy the next day. Super, super fun, or in some order, something like that. Let's see. My son wants to know if the TC65 is the same as the KTM 65. Probably the same as a KTM 250 is compared to a Husky 250. Let's see. We forgot to talk about the XR600. That could have been one of the best bikes ever, right?
That's a little out of my generation.
Thanks.
That's for the guys in the 80s.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, do you feel your 450X handles different after changing to a smaller sprocket and moving the axle forward due to removing a link? Not a ton, but it definitely did help it everywhere. Usually when you move, so he's talking about our 2019 Honda 450 CR450X. We went one smaller on the rear sprocket and took a link out of the chain and moved the wheel closer, so it effectively shortened the wheelbase. I noticed that Johnny had done that on their race bikes for the Mint 400, and their bikes felt a little livelier, and so I thought I'd give it a try, and for sure it did work, and it didn't hurt stability, and that was my actually I think it helped stability, helped everything. So that was my take on it, and it seemed like it made the forks a little less picky, especially about kind of feeling harsh. I don't know why, but that was a good move. Does the Honda 450L feel a lot heavier than the KTM 500?
I could chime in on that because I just rode one.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I haven't ridden the KTM 500, so I'm not going to. Actually, I really.
Oh, compared to your XR 650, it feels light.
Yeah, I will say that the 450L is really, really fun, and to me, nimble. I was up in Silverwood a couple of days ago. And there's not real tight technical stuff up there, but I kind of was mad and kind of hateful on Honda for that bike coming out because I wanted a 650. I wanted an EFI 650.
They should just they should take the 650, they should put a big gas tank on it, take a cue from Kawasaki, make it come stock with a big gas tank, put EFI on it. That motor is fine. That motor chugs right along.
So good.
And the chassis, I mean, it's not bad either.
Yeah. So. But with the 450, I finally got to ride it, and I was really impressed. I mean, it's really light, nimble. And then, one thing I thought it was going to maybe be, hindered on was the highway. And I got on the highway, and I clicked up gears, and it was actually smoother than the 650.
Yeah, there's no vibration on that bike.
Yeah.
That they did a really good job on that, for sure. So compared to the KTM 500 Honda 450, the Honda feels like it carries its weight a little bit higher, and it has like kind of a little bit more of a stable feel, which translates into a little bit of a heavier feel. But I think I'm trying to think of I've been doing more back to back between the KTM 350 and the Honda 450. So, and for sure the KTM 350 is completely lighter feeling and everything like that, but I think it really depends on kind of the RPM you're riding at. The thing about the 500 has quite a bit more torque than the Honda, and so you can run at a gear high. And when you're running at a lower RPM, the bike actually feels really light. But if you're probably riding at the same RPM, then the KTM, they're a lot more similar and stuff. But it's kind of a toss up. I mean, in reality, it's whatever you're going to get used to, whichever one. And I don't think it's going to be a like neither of them have a heavy feeling that's like a deficit like an XR650 does.
Yeah, I mean, I still have to get the KTM 500 to find that out.
Yeah. Let's see. Am I still running the short intake manifolds on the KTM 90? Is it on my 1090 or my 1190 now? I'm looking at the long ones on the wall right over there. So I think they're on my 1090 right now. Or 1190. I know they work good on the 1190. But it just makes, for me, it makes the power smoother and more usable. Are you getting close to getting a Beta 200RR to test? I sure hope so. Gabe probably hopes so. I just saw him start drooling over there. Slight drool coming out of his mouth. Yeah, just a little bit. So, yeah, we'd like to get one. David Nitson says he's got one. How'd you get one, David? Hey, Jimmy, we have the radiator guards and disc guards ready for the new 450X. Well, I could probably use them before I bend that stuff. I don't want to say I put some of your competitors' stuff on there, at least the stuff that fit. So, yeah, Nate, I know somebody was going to email me when they got those done. So, San Felipe Bob, remember that time Spencer and Jimmy Lewis rode? Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's your favorite ride ever. Let's see. Are you sponsored by Pabst? Funny you should ask. The answer is was sponsored by Pabst, and since it was in California, I got wristbands and T-shirts and toothbrushes and hats and stuff like that, but no beer. So no, these are just what's been rolling around in my cooler. And actually, if I'll put this up by the camera, if you look closely there, this is a well-weathered Pabst. It's the exact same temperature as it is outside right now, which
those are the ones that you find under your seat.
Yeah, no, this one's been in a cooler the whole time, but I should be sponsored by Pabst. There's this guy named Steve Fisher, calling him out right now. He said he was going to be my agent on this deal, and hey, did anybody see me on that King of the Hammers TV show? No, it was on ABC last week. It's a pretty cool little segment, me and Texas Jesus. So they kind of tell our story, where I talked about how I recycled the water that I drank in the morning to put in the radiator. Yeah. I know some tricks. So, let's see. Yeah, Spencer remembers that thing. Let's see. Here we go. Jameson has a question. Are the SSS forks, which is talking about the Yamaha forks, work well on RMTB? Uh-oh. I think he's had too many Pabst. Okay. Let's see. Are the SSS forks good on a KTM or Husky? What is somebody doing conversions now? I don't. Yeah. Man, some of the okay. So the Yamaha forks are really good. We've known that since 2005. They've been really good, and even they made an upgrade in 2006. I don't think they've changed really that much since then. That's a really good fork, well set up. But I think the current forks on the new KTM's are excellent as well. I mean, we just rode some of the factory editions, which had the 19.5 factory editions have the latest edition of that air fork, and those are great. The open cartridge stuff on the EXCs is excellent. So I would not complain about either of them. The one thing I do like about the air fork is they are lightweight. They're really light feeling, and it helps the steering feel lighter and all that kind of stuff. So
do you think that's done with the manufacturers? Do you think they're done with that whole trying to
have we gone through another air fork thing, kind of like back in the 1970s, which I don't remember that well, but I was told. I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can see the way that it was sold. I'm sure the way it was sold to the manufacturers was, hey, this is less parts. It's going to cost less money to produce. And it's lighter weight. So this is a win-win-win. And the problem is they needed to perform to a certain level, and they got complex, and then there was all this. And the first ones definitely had some problems with some leaking, and when they'd leak, they'd collapse and all this stuff. But I mean, how often do you see a KTM forks collapse these days?
Yeah, true.
You just don't. And think about mountain bikes. Everybody's running air on mountain bikes, and how often do you see them collapse? It just doesn't really happen that often. So it's kind of so it could make a comeback, I think, as they learn how to make it better. But you never know with all the patents and different limitations on what other technologies, how they, who can do what with what. But I think the market perception, and it was largely because the journalists and the media just literally just poo-pooed it right from the beginning. It was like they didn't actually what happens and here I'm gonna go on a tirade here.
There we go.
Half of these guys should not be testing motorcycles because they don't know anything about what they're doing or what they're testing. And I'm not talking, I'm talking about some of the guys you read and currently know. If you opened up a clutch and asked them what that is and how does it do something, they like they don't know how to adjust their power valve with the cam chain. It's just ridiculous.
So motorcycle theory, they don't have motorcycle theory.
I don't think they've ever had to work on them. They just ride them and say, "Okay, this is good," and for some reason, and I was at those intros where the air fork was just confusing and nobody knew what to do, and so they're all looking at each other, and of course, someone like Jody goes, "It's bad," and he does that kind of stuff, and he's good at it, and he goes. And well, it's not him because he wasn't actually riding the bike. He was having one of his test riders ride the bike, and they may have said it's good, but they decided, okay, it's bad. We're going to say it's bad, and it's going to be bad. That's the way it is, and then we'll tell you how to fix it in 2 months. But right now, it's bad. And then other people, hey, he said it was bad, and it's like, okay, and then it's bad, and because you don't want to be like on the other side of it. Now, I'm not kidding that there were some issues with some of those things, but they were incredibly adjustable. Some of those forks were as complex and as adjustable with air pressure as works forks. Now, I'm not saying that I wanted to fill up 17 different chambers inside of my fork before every ride or check it or all that other stuff, but they worked good. They were too complex.
Yeah.
And especially ones when they're starting to get into the 3 different chambers, that was getting a little bit out there. But now when you have KTMs with a single-sided, single bleed, and it's one air pressure to check, they've got it down to where it really works. So that's kind of where it goes. But it's when you have guys that don't actually appreciate stuff for how it works, and then they don't even know about whether they just heard about that one guy that got a flat fork and his bike went like that, and then just like everybody asks me about like how long is my motor? My Honda's 450L is only going to last 10 hours, 12 hours on a piston. Really?
Yeah.
So it's kind of some of that, and that's what bothers me when my colleagues are out not doing their jobs and not explaining this stuff. So, know who you're. I always say know who you're listening to, and they will reveal very slowly that they don't know exactly what they're talking about. They're just like they're the sheep following kind of the lemming line. And it's not to say that their opinion isn't valid. I mean, if that's their opinion, that's great. But when you're making an opinion or a judgment for everybody, and it'll all work itself out. If the air fork's gone, then it's gone. But I still like the ones on the KTMs. I like some of the ones that had the 3 chambers on, where I was able to get those things to work really, really well. And I missed all of a sudden, they never advertised the next year. They didn't come back and say, hey, our bike gained 4 pounds. And
do you think, too, is maybe, because sometimes it's frustrating when the magazines test, they're doing what I feel is the manufacturer's job. And of course, sometimes manufacturers take forever to work all those bugs out. But don't you think that, well, let me back up. Do you think the manufacturers should do more testing before it could be a plug and play when somebody spends that money on the bike?
I think that the manufacturers are tasked with building a bike that's for everybody. Mm-hmm. Now they're tasked with building a bike that needs to win a Supercross, win an outdoor national, and make an intermediate happy make a novice rider happy, make the guy who's never going to take it to the track happy. And of course, you know, they're going to shoot for somewhere in the middle. They've got to.
Yeah.
And you can't build something that can't be modified to win at a Supercross. And you've seen KTM take a different aspect. They build factory edition, which is essentially their production bike, but that's a way to kind of release stuff a little bit early. Maybe,
It's true.
Maybe say, hey, this is, and they sell every one of them.
True.
You know, and because even if you're the guy just going to take it out in the cow trails, you want that thing. That's the American way. If we could drive a top stool dragster to work, you would hope the light turned red so you could use it again. You know, so there's a little bit of that, but then, you know, it drives the cost in an upward direction. But I think they do a really good job. I mean, I think of all the bikes that I've ridden this year, when we're talking about the emissions compliant bikes, it's amazing the hoops these manufacturers are jumping through to bring us stuff that's really good.
Right.
And they're literally, it's jumping through hoops to meet ridiculous regulations and stuff, you know, in that aspect. But you look at the competition side when they're bringing these motocross bikes that have incredible power bands and work so good, and a guy that is a vet novice can hop on, you know, a CRF 450 and feel really comfortable. So of all these bikes that I rode, I mean, I'm sitting there going, what was the something that was really sort of jacked up? And I mean, the only thing that I would think was probably the worst thing I rode was the Suzuki RMZ. The shock on that bike is like the only thing I could say, because it wasn't what didn't it have? Now I forget what it was. I just remember the shock. There was something that wasn't adjustable. I don't know if it didn't have high speed or something on the shock. Off the top of my head, I'm not remembering. I'm just going, why isn't this like that? And that was the only thing. And it wasn't that it was bad. Mm-hmm. It was just it wasn't to the same level that some of the other stuff was. And I wanted to change some things because I felt like I could get it to work really good. And it was just lacking this one thing that I knew it was just a couple clicks on any other bike, and I didn't have that option. But
this has actually sparked a good question for you: is why doesn't the manufacturers do what the car dealerships? I mean, there's guys that buy Ford pickups and they get these option packages. Why don't you think the motorcycle industry hasn't gone into that, where I can go to KTM? I mean, KTM is very close to that, but
with the power parts and stuff.
Yeah. Why can't I go I'm doing trail, make a package for me, and then
Yamaha has GYTR and Honda has some.
I'm saying they make it. They actually
build it up for you. Yeah.
Build it up.
I just don't think there's the numbers. I don't think the number. I mean, in reality, that's where a dealership could really shine. You know, a dealership could actually take that bike and customize it for you. You could go there and do that. And especially with the trouble we're having with the brick and mortar shops.
Yeah.
Struggling for customers, and right now everybody's going on the internet and finding the lowest price and then going to that one. But like where at some point customer service needs to come in, and hopefully those are the ones that are shops that are going to stick around. But I think that's a. But I mean, when you're talking about pickup trucks and stuff, they're pumping hundreds of thousands of those things out. And on motorcycles, if you're selling 4,000 of a model, you're probably doing really, really well these days. So back to our questions for a second here. Rich wants to know about flex bars. I have never broke a pair. In fact, I've never bent a pair of flex bars, and it's funny. We just pulled a pair of some kind of a twin wall, an aftermarket twin wall off of a bike, one of our rental bikes that had been crashed the other day. And I was thinking, man, it's been so long since I've bent handlebars, which is really strange. I think the clamps, being some of the clamps are rubber mounted and stuff. But no, I've never bent a set of those.
I like the flex bars.
I love them too. I'm a big,
good company too.
Yeah, good company, good people. I have bad wrists, so they really help me out. Beta. Oh, hey, there it is. Mark Daniels. Build your own Beta.
Beta does that?
Yeah, they have. I should have known that.
I don't want a Beta.
Yeah, they don't have build your own Honda. No, Hey, thanks, Mark. That's a awesome input there. Beta does have that build your own Beta program. It's BYO, bring your own beer.
Really?
Yeah, and that was the last bike test I did at Dirt Rider magazine. I think it kind of pissed them off because they requested to have a bike built and they built it for me.
Oh.
Not the other guy. It had a little. It came with a little placard with your name engraved on it.
Really?
Yeah, and so they put all the Jimmy shit on there. They put flex bars on it. They put a Recluse clutch in it, a big tank. All the same
Front
stuff.
wheel drive?
No, it didn't have front wheel drive. Yeah. So, are you going to put on another hard enduro here in the United States? Not unless I can do it the way I want to do it. And
how do you want to do it?
I want to make it so one rider finishes again, and I want it to be very safe. From it's not going to be safe if you're an idiot on your motorcycle, but I just don't want you to get hit by a car or a spectator to come and run you over or something like that. I want to make it so it's a ridiculously tough race that you would feel very accomplished if you finished. Everything would be rideable. You just have to be able to manage yourself. So that would be how I would do it, and I know what the budget is to do it, and I've explained that to people that kind of have that sort of budget to throw around, and there's no interest. So there's a really good place to have it, but unfortunately that event has outgrown having motorcycles there. And I'll just say it, the King of the Motos. I think it lived its life. It did great. It got incredible exposure for the riders. It was a built-in package that we stepped into, and it was awesome. And I did not, as the promoter of that race, along with Dave Cole, we just did not feel safe with the motorcycles having them out there. It just got a little bit too big and out of control. So
This is because with the
crowds were growing, and the amount of events that were out there, just all the stuff that was going on, it just kind of outgrew it. And I'm luckily in our last race, I had one guy that finished my course, so I felt like I put on a good race, and I don't think I could top doing that again. And so that was it. So I turned into a car racer for one race, and I finished King of the Hammers. I probably won't do that again. I don't have, my pockets are not full enough with the thick stacks of cash. Yeah, lots of stuff. So another question here at the floor. Mitch asked me about budget bikes. I think we answered your question earlier. How about the KLR 650, Mitch?
XR 400.
Well, see, guess what Mitch's bike is? Guess. Yeah, the answer was broke. No, he has an XR 650L. He actually has a couple of them. So that's a good out here budget bike. My current favorite pick for budget bikes, and I'm probably going to shoot myself for actually saying this out loud because I'll drive the price up again, is any KTM RFS 4-stroke. The 2000 to 2007 KTM RFS 4-stroke, specifically the 400s, are really good bikes. They last forever. I have 9 or so of them in our fleet of rentals, and every so often I might have to throw intake valves into one of them. And I mean, what else do we replace in those things? Anything? These guys around here help me work on them all the time. Change tires, and that's about it. If you kind of know what to look for, you can kind of prevent all that stuff. But that is my budget bike question. And then Christian Reniger asked me. His question was kind of two-pronged. He was asking me the difference between KTM EXC and Husky FEs, and more specifically the difference between the PDS suspension on the KTM and the linkage on the Husky. What do I feel about it? I'm probably one of maybe 2 journalists in the world that like PDS suspension. I have always liked it. I learned how to set it up. I don't think that PDS will accomplish the same variety as a linkage suspended bike. Like if you're talking about setup, you actually have to change your PDS setup for changing conditions, I feel. But I can get it to work anywhere I need it to, and it's just plain simple, and I like the progressive nature of it. So when you kind of figure out your setting and get it all good, I think it works just as good. The old PDS, when there was not an isolated shock tower, made the bikes, especially the forks, feel horrible. And it's just because all the forces were going straight up the center of the shock, right up into the headset, right up into the handlebars, into your hands. And you felt that harshness. And then at the time, KTM forks were junk to begin with. but it made them feel worse. So the PDS kind of got a bad rap, and there was one year where KTM actually made PDS motocross bikes, where they had the isolated shock tower, kind of like all of them have now. The year before they went to linkage, and all of a sudden it got really good, but it was too late. They were going down linkage alley, and they were hiring riders that were going to win championships, and it's all been good. I'm not going to say anything bad about that linkage, but what the linkage does more than anything, I think it kind of changes the flex character of the frame and of the swing arm. I don't think that's the thing a lot of riders really quote feel, but it's something that happens, and I don't like the linkage hanging up on stuff I'm trying to ride over. And most people don't have that problem, but I do, and I like my tire hitting the log or the rock and not my shock linkage. So, but in reality, I think for most guys you can get them both working equally as well. It just depends on how picky you are or how much you read those other journalists that that don't understand what they it's just easier to say it's bad because it went away for the most part. So I'm sure KTM would love to bring that back, though. You know, it's less parts, cheaper, lighter, all the same things as an air fork.
Yeah, I mean, I like oil going through my fork. I like the feel of that rather than air.
Let's see. Chance asks, do I think the SXS, I think he's talking about side-by-sides, are good for the off-road community? As a side-by-side owner, as long as you stay off of my single-track trails, they're fine. Just don't drive them and pioneer single-track trails. Leave our single-track.
Side-by-sides have officially killed the quad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of cool to be able to go out and do our sport with someone else, you know, and that's what you get to, side by side. You're out there doing it with somebody else, or
carry your stuff.
Yeah, carry. I mean, I think just I wish people could experience what I experience on a motorcycle, and it's difficult to do. You can't ride double and stuff like that much. So. Now the questions are getting stupid. I just saw something pop across. It's going down stupid. Hey, welcome to the internet, right? And my wife participating in it, then it's even worse. But the fact that you can bring more people into it, and maybe that'll put people on dirt bikes, or families will, the kids will say, hey, I don't want to ride with you, Dad, I want my own. And it's like, well, we're going to get you a mini bike. We need more kids doing this sport, and I think some of these cool little electric bikes that are coming out are going to help that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of Honda's got some new fuel injected little mini bike kids bikes, gas powered stuff that we're going to get some of those to test real soon. Just a matter of logistics. So there's hope for it. Hopefully that helps in that way. Let's see. I saw another question roll up here. How do I weld the crankshaft on an XR100? I don't weld it. Actually, Matt, here's what I do to get my crankshafts. I use this proprietary rebar that I get at Dave Miller's shop, and you wrap it and you kind of do a twist on one end and then a bow tie on the other around the small end, and it's all good.
Or you could send it to LA Sleeve. They rebuild cranks.
That's right.
There's your plug.
Yeah. Yeah, good job. Somebody's got to throw a plug in here. How are we doing on time here? Oh, good. We got a few more minutes. Let's see. Hey, there's Morgan. Morgan had me on his Gospel of Two Wheels podcast, video, vlog, show thingy last week. You can go check that out. We got in some pretty good discussions. He always talks about interesting stuff on his thing. He's out in Colorado. Has awesome riding and stuff.
That's where the real off-road is, Colorado.
Yeah. Let's see. My wife says, she says, we have a raccoon in the house attic. How do I get rid of it? And now she says she's serious. You want me to go get the gun? That's how I fix the problem.
Raccoon soup.
Yeah. So that's how you do that. So I think we ran through most of the questions here. Oh, I know a couple things I was going to talk about. New product thing. So this week, my good friend from Best Rest Products sent me down these fork savers. And it was funny because he told me about them, and I was thinking of those neoprene sleeves that you You've seen slid over the fork guards and stuff, but I just got them and I put them on one of my KTM 500s. It's got like a very tight elastic band up here with silicone in it, and it's more like a nylon sleeve. And it has, on this one, it has a little band where it goes by the disc so it doesn't blow out by the disc. And then it comes with an O-ring. So you have to take your fork off the bike and you slide it down there. And you slide this on here, and this collapses it down here. So effectively, it keeps most of the junk from getting to the fork seal. And this O-ring is actually pretty tight, so it kind of keeps it, kind of squeezed up down at the bottom. But we will be testing these things out. He's also sent me these Googletech fuel filters that are pretty amazing for filtering out junk if you're going through bad gas. Mark, coming from Mexico, I should probably show you one of those. But you can they slide in the thing, and then I'll go with that on the tech tip here. So that's the one of the things we're testing this week. The other thing I was going to talk about, tech tip, was hand me one of the normal filters. So this is just an oil filter out of your oil filter, and it's dried out pretty good. And I'm going to show you a tech tip that one of the Japanese engineers working for one of the manufacturers showed me how to check the health of your motor. And I'd always looked at them, and a lot of times I flush them. I'll back flush them with contact cleaner on top of a white sheet or a blue sheet, blue towel that I can see. But he said, no, there's a better way. And so what he did was he took it and he sliced it with a knife and then sliced it around. So you're rotating around anyways. You can see what it's done. It's actually opened it up. I'm going to get it closer to the camera here. So you actually cut it and hold it off. And it's like an accordion, right? And we see that? So, and when you open it up, you can look down in there and you can look into the veins on the filter, and you can see a lot more of the metal particulate matter in the fragments. And if your motor is starting to go south, or something in the motor is going south, you will see some of the parts there, or some of the fragments. So you should do this on your XR650.
I actually just did that a week ago, and there's nothing. It's clean. I change my oil like every...
Did you slice the filter?
No, I actually I spread it like that, and I just look like that really good.
Yeah, but I mean, you can literally pull it straight, and it's amazing how much more stuff. I mean, you look at that, it doesn't look that bad, right?
Yeah.
And then you stretch it out, and you go,
wow.
Okay, so what that was a Recluse clutch. The aluminum parts in the Recluse clutch.
Really?
We're starting to. It was one that it was 500 hours on it, and it was starting to get bad.
Huh.
So that's so we started looking for, hey, what's aluminum? We saw what's that material? Where is it coming from? And it was real easy to kind of diagnose and check. So there's your little tech tip. That's the tech tip. Let's see. We're going to run back through here some of the questions. We can deal with the thing later. Let's see. Next week on Taco 2, Jimmy talked about how he fixed the bullet hole in his roof. Yeah. Let's see. Do I have openings in my class this weekend? Yes, I do. Thanks for asking, George. I was going to slip my wrist because it was the first non-full class I've had in 4 years. I figured I'm losing it. So, hey, if you want to learn to become a better rider, why don't you come out and see JimmyLewisOffroad.com. We have classes out here in Pahrump. I have an excellent curriculum. I don't care what ability level rider you are. We can help with your riding. We teach very simple techniques. It works. Let's see. Very good tech tip, checking the oil filters. Let's see. That's cool. Yeah. See, Morgan, you learn something every day, don't you? So anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for chiming in, asking questions. Like usual, we will put this up on the YouTubes tomorrow, edit it down, throw it up there. If you want to listen to this, share it with your friends. That's going to...
share it.
Yeah, and my wife is a good teacher at the off-road school as well, and she's going to bring me out a brand new Yamaha WR450, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, with the competition ECU in it. So I was going to have it today, but I didn't get back to California to get it, so that was my problem. But
I have something to give you before we go.
So
this is a official Berm Cannon Urbanized shirt, which is a series I shot in downtown LA riding the XR650.
Are you a hipster?
This is the hipster shirt.
Is it tight? Is it tight fitting?
No. It's a large.
Yeah.
It may be tight on you though if you're.
I got big boobs.
Yeah.
I got big boobs. So yeah, I think awesome. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Hey, and
Thanks for having me.
Hey, and if you want to support Dirt Bike Test, we also have T-shirts. So up on our website, www.dirtbiketest.com, there's a store. You can click it. We have T-shirts, hats, kind of like this. Let's move some of those things so we can get some new designs out there, and go check out some of the stuff we have on the website. There hasn't been a whole lot going up there. I'm going to get that XR or the CRF 450X. I edited down the photos. So we'll be closer to that. I want to thank Mark for coming in on his trip back. Next time we're going to get him out here riding. I'm going to prove to him the XR650 is not the best bike in the world, and we'll go from there. So thanks everybody for joining. We will see you guys next week.